Hey guys, welcome back. It's your boy back again with another fashionably late yet hype-filled Reach PC and Xbox news video. Yet again, my boy Postums decided to release the update the day after I flew to Seattle for PAX West and was out of commission. You know, once is a coincidence and twice is chance, but 3 times? Well, if you ask me, that's quite the pattern. But as you can see here in this lovely picture of us both at 343, I can confirm that it was merely chance. And chance would be a fine thing indeed. And you know, as a wise man once said, a HiddenXperia, MCC and Reach PC and Xbox news video.
It is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Word from the wise. So, before we cover today's news, which many of you will be happy to know is heavily Xbox and PvP focused, I want to thank Crunchyroll for kindly sponsoring today's video. Are you bored of waiting for Reach to come to PC? Then why not pass the time with some iconic anime? Go to crunchyroll.com/HiddenXperia to get a 14-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium and enjoy ad-free, perfectly subbed viewing of all the top shows released as little as an hour after they premiere in Japan, from Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer to the ever-iconic JoJo, or, my personal favourite, the ODST-esque smooth jazz-filled Cowboy Bebop. There's an unlimited supply of anime, manga and drama titles for you to enjoy in glorious ad-free 1080p quality. So sign up for a Crunchyroll Premium free trial today by going to crunchyroll.com/HiddenXperia or by clicking the link in the description and enjoy some ad-free anime on me while we eagerly await the next era of Halo. Right, like I said at the start, many of you will be very happy to know that this is primarily an Xbox news update, but there is some PC stuff in here to cover too, so let's get that out of the way first. Postums gave us a brief recap of the now infamous Fireflight, and by the sounds of it, it was extremely successful. As per usual, 10,000 people were invited, and roughly 5,550 of those participated. Now, that might seem quite low at a first glance, almost like a 50% participation rate, but for a test that requires finding an email, redeeming a code, and then activating it in a fairly unusual fashion, and then spending ages downloading a game to then play it and experience bugs, it's pretty good. But don't take that from me, I mean, take it from 343 themselves. Apparently participation, considering that they're using this type of invitation method, was higher than average for people joining in and playing. Halo Reach on PC has immense pull. Who could have ever imagined that? But the success doesn't stop there. Not only was the in-game population the highest of all the flights yet, but the success rate for people trying to matchmake was over 90%, which is, for fairly obvious reasons, very, very promising. That's probably like 10 times higher than MCC at launch, so leaps and bounds, guys, leaps and bounds. As somebody who played the hell out of that Fireflight build, I can honestly say that it was like surprisingly bug-free. I mean, it wasn't perfect by any means, but it was infinitely less buggy than I think any of us expected, especially given how many times it was pushed back. Before the next flight kicks off, which we're going to get to in a second, let me just very quickly issue a really important reminder. Please check your spam box or junk box or trash or whatever in your email. So far, for some weird reason, all of my flighting invites have been filtered into spam, as have many other people's as well, and honestly, I've seen some really unlucky souls wonder why they weren't invited to the flight, and then to find that their invite was in their spam folder 2 days after the flight ended. So please, don't be one of those people. Just always check your regular inbox, your spam inbox, your trash or whatever. Just double, triple, quadruple check. Now, in the original update post, there were talks of a second Fireflight happening to gather a bit more data, but can we roll heavy price paid, please? Thank you. I'm sad to inform you that the data that 343 wanted to gather, turns out that they found it in the data that was gathered from the original Fireflight, so for now, there will be no second Fireflight. However, on the plus side, this means that the next flight is PvP on Xbox. So for those of you who don't play PC and have wanted to get in on the action, your prayers have finally been answered. As of right now, there are no plans for this flight to come to PC. By the sounds of it, they want to gather some console-specific data or something, which I guess is fair enough. Oh, and yeah, this picture that you've been looking at is Reach multiplayer running on what I presume is the Xbox version of MCC, and boy, does Countdown look crispy. But you know what's better than a picture? Actual gameplay. Now, no, this is not of an Xbox flight or anything. Everyone's local favourite modder, GameCheat13, managed to get PvP working on firefight maps during the last flight, so obviously, what you're seeing right now is not final, nor is it in any way official, but to say that he managed to get it working in like a day, it runs like surprisingly smoothly, which is quite promising. So, the Xbox flight, where's it at? Well, right now, the QA tests are being run on things known as branches. But what the bloody hell are branches? A branch is, and I quote, a carbon copy of the core code for a project. After the branch happens, the code is isolated from your main project. This allows you to fine-tune, to pick and choose what pieces you want pulled into it. Branching for a flight is one of the core steps for each flight to lock everything down and work to more easily stabilize the codebase. So, it's basically the precursor to flighting, the flight, if you will. Once a branch of the main MCC code is nailed down and the team have decided what to and to not include, they'll begin a full evaluation of it to find out the top issues and bugs that need resolving prior to us flighting it. Currently, they've tested the build internally up to Ring 0, which, if you remember, is the first of the 3 stages of bugginess the build has to pass through before we can play it. So, the flight isn't exactly round the corner, but work is absolutely progressing on it, and I doubt that it'll be like that long before it's in our hands. But the burning question is, why is Xbox Flighting taking so long? Well, I can confirm to you that it is not because 343 have forgotten about console and are only focusing on PC, like I've seen a few people say that's absolutely not the case. In the past, 343 have given us a few sort of relatively brief reasons, but in this update, they sat down with a few members of the team to give us a detailed, comprehensive insight into why Xbox Flighting is taking so damn long, starting off with the senior producer of the project, Michael Farney. So, one of the biggest issues with console MCC is memory limitations. The game already has like 11 game engines, and now they're adding Unreal Engine 4 for customization previews and progression screens, and as you can imagine, a console with restricted hardware isn't going to be too fond of yet another game engine being added to it. They're making progress with fixing it, but there's no like instant fix for it, it's just a case of constant trial and error. Apparently as well, getting Unreal to work in tandem with Scaleform, which is the engine that powered the original MCC UI, also has its challenges, which I can imagine. But overall, memory limits aren't the only issue. Reach isn't the only game that's being worked on right now, contrary to popular belief. There's work going on with what I assume is pretty much every other game in the MCC, and getting them all to remain within their respective memory limits is far from easy, especially considering that a fix that works for one game doesn't necessarily work for another. And then, as well, as each game comes to PC, they're going to be revisiting the console versions to ensure that the memory constraints are still in line and that they're not exceeding any of the limits. So it's going to be a case of the work sort of never stopping. Once all the work on Reach PC is done, they're going to also be revisiting the UI in general, on console and PC, I think, to update it and add features and fix bugs and the like. And when Reach is fully released on both platforms, they're going to be splitting the development stream so they can both A, work on supporting Reach and MCC as a sort of live service game, and B, to also work on releasing the rest of the games in the collection. So there's a lot of work there, but on a more positive side, Farney was saying that it's quite surprising how quickly they managed to get Reach up and running and also playing well. And apparently all the positive feedback that they've been getting about how well it plays and how good it feels, after spending ages worrying about exactly that, feels extremely good, which I can wholeheartedly imagine. I've actually been quite genuinely surprised at how nice and relatively bug-free the flights have been, which is a very promising sign. But with that said though, I absolutely do not envy the insane amount of work the MCC team still have ahead of them with the collection, with all the other games coming to it and the updates and the UI updates. They have got a lot of work ahead of them. I just hope they're still getting their healthy doses of pizza because, my god, they are gonna need it. And so, finally, we have a few campaign updates, centered mostly around the campaign timing and score systems. So the competitive time and competitive score tracker that launched with MCC in 2014 is going to be freshened up a little bit for Reach's release, and the segments within them are going to be optimized more so for Reach's missions. And also, the par times and par scores are going to be reduced a slight bit for Reach, so it should be a little bit easier to get the achievements for Reach for beating the par time and the par score. In terms of speedrunning, they want the leaderboards to be the main focus for speedrunners, and they also confirmed that they're ensuring that all speedrunning skips and tricks and glitches and all that worked with the original Reach will work with the MCC Reach, which is something that didn't happen with Halo 2, for example, where sword flying no longer worked in MCC because it used the Vista version of Halo 2 as opposed to the Xbox version. That hurt. That really hurt. Playing MCC for the first time and not being able to sword fly, that hurt. And finally, all the cutscenes in Reach are now skippable, including ones that were previously unskippable back in the day. Speedrunners, rejoice. And so, that's all for today. Again, this wasn't exactly the biggest update yet, but there were quite a lot of promising teasers in there for things to come in the near future, and you know your boy is going to be covering them the second they release. So, thank you so much for watching, friendos. Don't forget to check out Crunchyroll Premium using crunchyroll.com/HiddenXperia for 14 days of free, glorious HD ad-free anime to tide you over till the next flight. So, I want to give a massive thank you to ChillEdge7 and Daddywarbucks for both becoming new Primordials over on Patreon, as well as, of course, everyone else who continues to support me over there, and thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one.